All right, here's a guy that'll never get a selfie chin fix, and that is our good friend, yes, Dan Wooding from Assist News. Why would you want to fix that chin?
Very good question.
Dan Wooding with Assist News, assistnews.net, one of the great resources of our day. You can go to assistnews.net and sign up for the emails that come out daily, updating you on all kinds of things, and in particular his passion is to inform you so you can pray effectively for the persecuted church around the world. Well, there's a lot going on in Turkey right now, Dan, and I know that you've been tracking the American couple over there that's had a church, and I guess they got arrested. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a very strange story. What happened was that Andrew and Norine Brunson, they've been working in Turkey now for 20 years. They run a little church in the coastal city of Izmir, and they've been trying to get their residence visa updated. You know, every year or so there in Turkey, if you're living there as a foreigner, you have to get your residence updated, and so that you can stay. Well, they've got a law now in the country that seems to be picking on overseas Christians, particularly pastors, to try and get them out of the country, because they say we're a Muslim country, we don't need Christians there. They have been running this church called the Izmir Resurrection Church, and recently they got arrested. They're now in a detention center. The U.S. Embassy is not allowed to see them. They're not allowed to have a lawyer, and they're about to be deported back to the States after 20 years. No explanation except that they are a national security risk. Now, I don't know what the security risk is if all you're doing is preaching the gospel at a small church at a coastal city in Turkey, but that's the situation for this couple, Andrew and Norine Brunson.
The other thing that we need to watch is that Iran has its eye on Turkey. And this is quite serious. They do not want Turkey doing anything, and the leaders of Iran got their eye on Turkey. I don't know what that ultimately means, but it doesn't appear to be good. You got any thoughts on that?
Well, Turkey, I think at the moment is, now it's got all this money from the States. I think it's possibly saying, well, until we can build our atomic or nuclear bomb, we'll try and become the leaders of the region. If we have to, we'll forcibly take over countries like Turkey. I don't think they'll have much success, but Turkey isn't doing itself much good with the way it's treating Christians, particularly overseas Christians who have little churches in the country. And so, it's a terrible situation going on there in the Middle East. And, I just thank the Lord that we live here, despite the weather sometimes.
Interesting. All right, get us an update on Asia Bibi. I understand that, she's up for trial. She's been in prison for quite some time. And what happened to the judge on the case? What's going on with that one?
Well, this was the strangest story. We talked about it last week, and she's this lady who was a berry picker in the fields in Punjab province, and she went and got some water from the well for her Muslim friends and took a little sip, and they went berserk and started yelling at her. And she basically said to them, look, the person I follow, Jesus, he changed the world. He saved the world. What has your leader done, Muhammad? Well, of course, they didn't like that. She got charged with blasphemy. She got sentenced to death. She's been in prison nearly 7 years now. And last week, they were due to have a hearing, a final hearing, hopefully so that she could be acquitted from the, from the death penalty charge, or the death penalty. And so what happened was one of the three judges turned up and suddenly said he didn't want to hear the case. He'd already heard a similar case, and he walked out of the court. The hearing lasted 2 minutes. Well, the good news is that he's resigned now. There was such an uproar that this judge had behaved such a bad... The obvious feeling is that maybe he was terrified to free Asia Bibi because of the number of assassinations that have taken place of people who supported people with blasphemy. Already two leaders in Pakistan have been murdered for supporting this lady. And so now he's resigned, and they're waiting to find another judge and hoping to eventually let her have her day in court. But I don't have much confidence in the legal system in the country, Perry, because, you know, it's got such an awful record. And if you were a judge, that if you freed this lady, you could be murdered, you'd think twice.
Wow, wow. All right, thank you, Dan, for the update. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to assistnews.net. These are just a few of the stories you'll be updated on throughout the day. You'll receive quite a few emails from all over the world giving you an update on those who are paying a dear price for their faith. And that website has all these stories. He updates them there, and you can go there and download them. And that's assistnews.net. But let him know that you hear him on the Dove. They're a faith-based ministry. Support what he does at assistnews.net. Thanks, brother. Talk to you next week.
Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There he is. Assist News, Dan Wood.